All right, let's talk gear. I am not a gear junkie when it comes to fishing. Other parts of my life, maybe a little bit, but anyways, I'm not a gear junkie when it comes to fishing. I just like simple. I like to buy what I know is good gear. I don't like to spend a lot of money on it. So just gonna kind of throw just a couple pieces of equipment your way, especially for the beginners. You want to get into this and you want to do well. Maybe when you go fishing, you want to catch fish, right? So I always try to, pick the brain of guys that I know are doing well, figure out the most economical way to do it, and yeah, it's been good. I know some guys that go out, when they go out, they take thousands of dollars worth of gear with them, and that's not the case with me. Where I put my money is in my auger setup, which was a Christmas gift this year from my wife, and the drill that I use for it is just part of my business. So nothing special there, but it is a pretty cool auger, and I'll show you that one later. But yeah, let's talk gear. So for depending on what you're going for, really, I have a 28-inch rod here. It's a good old, you can buy it at your local sports store or whatever. Nothing special about it. 28-inch. This is a medium weight. I do tend to like the lighter weight ones better, but this thing works great. I had no issues with it. I'm running just a super lightweight, what is this? A Berkeley, yeah, a super little lightweight Berkeley spin caster. I actually use this one. This is dual purpose. I use this for ice fishing, and then in the summer when I do trout fishing where I need a lightweight setup, I use this and it works great. So serves two purposes. Right now I am running just a 4-pound test fluorocarbon line. Whitefish are pretty, like I said, pretty picky, so I like to run a line that's pretty small, smallest I can go. Pretty safe going 4 to 6 pound test. It's been great, and I find that it doesn't freeze up as much on my reel, so that's a good way to go today. And for actually this whole season, and this thing's getting pretty rough, I've been using just a little jig head like that with a maggot. That's all I've been. Now it was like white and it would glow in the water. Just a little jig head like that with a maggot. Now you can see this hook is getting pretty beat up. I mean, that's a good sign. I've been catching fish on it, and so it's kind of coming to the end of its life now, but fish are still coming in on it today. So what I've been using all year, using this hook right here for whitefish and for my trout fishing, and I've had pretty good success this year on it. So I use a lot of little jig heads like that. Another thing that you're going to want is a good set of pliers. It just really makes the hook extraction a lot easier and safer, especially if you're dealing with fish like a pike or whatever with sharp teeth. You want to get your fingers in there, so get yourself a nice set of pliers. And you can buy all this stuff at your local Canadian Tire or whatever. Don't have to go all out on it. Better keep checking down there. So yeah, for a tackle, this is like 10 years of trying different things. It's a bit of a mess right now, but good friend of mine here, Dave, he uses these little hooks here. They're called Wetaskiwins. They work great. He has great success on them. I have not caught a thing on them ever, but I mean, the guy's limited out the last 2 days, so he knows what he's doing. They're great. I do use a lot of wire worm hooks, so they're so tiny. So just a little wire worm deals like this, all different colors. Like I said, sometimes it could be a yellow day, some days it could be a red day, who knows. But here's a yellow wire worm with a little maggot left on there, kind of gross. And then yeah, lots of these little jig heads, little bugs on them. I don't run any sort of attaching device like a swivel or a leader or anything like that, especially if I'm whitefish catching. But I do want to put out a shout out to my good buddy Ryan Brown, Brown's Angling in Rocky Mountain House. This guy is putting out tackle right now, and I'm wearing the hat. His hat is my favorite hat, but got a little dirty yesterday, so it's getting washed today. But this guy, Ryan Brown of Brown's Angling, is putting out some of the best tackle that I've ever seen for fishing. This here is what he calls his BAMs, so it's Brown's Angling Minnows. You can see they're super lifelike. The fish just love these things. Actually, the beginning of the season for whitefish, I had just this mini, and I think I still have them right here. And you'll be able to see, I was using just the mini little minnow right here. Tiny little thing, like an inch long, inch and a quarter long. And the whitefish were just attacking that thing. You know, he's putting out all these little nymphs and bugs and flies. Tube jigs, he's got the best tube jigs you'll ever find. So big shout out to Ryan Brown, Brown's Angling. Check him out, buy his gear. I guarantee it, I stand behind it, you know, especially if you're going for the bigger fish too, the lake trout and pike. Get some tube jigs, man, they are like right on. But again, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money on this stuff. So, you know, and some of the essentials that I have in my box, you know, I used to carry around a massive box, and I went to Canadian Tire and I got myself a little nicely organized box, and I love this thing. It was like 30 or 40 bucks. Totally worth it. I always carry around my little, I think it's a 4-inch Rapala fillet knife. Always have one of those in my box. I do have a little ceramic sharpener in there. Little nail clipper type tool. It's got little hooks on it for cleaning out the eyelets on your hooks and stuff. So, you know, pretty basic. That's what I carry around when I go fishing. And then, you know, I have this tent right here. Just bought this from my buddy Dave. Gave me a great deal on it. It's great for one person. When we go with the family, we have the big, I think it's like a 6x12 insulated Cabela's tent, big double tent, and we have a wooden floor for it if we want to use it. We haven't used it this year, but the insulated tent is fantastic. Highly recommend them if you're going on a cold day. You drill that thing down, and that's something else I'll talk about a little later here when I get to the auger and some of the other equipment that I'm using. My biggest purchase that I bought lately, and some people will be like, oh, well, that's kind of expensive, but I just want to talk about this real quick. I just bought this Big Buddy heater. Takes two, you can do two 1-pound tanks, one on each side, or you can get the adapter for your 20-pound tank. And just give me 1 second here. You can get the adapter and you can hook your 20-pound tank onto that. Here's what I love about this thing. It has a low oxygen sensor. My wife and I were fishing several years ago and just using the sunflower heaters on top of the 20-pound tank. And all of a sudden, we were both starting to kind of pass out, fall asleep. And we went to spark a lighter in the tent, and noticed that the lighter wouldn't light. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And then we kind of came to our senses and realized that the oxygen was so low in our tent because of those sunflower heaters that we couldn't even light a lighter. So we bust open the windows and get out there and breathe some fresh air. But we were very close to a real bad day. So this Big Buddy heater, I just picked it up at Canadian Tire. They're on sale for like 200 bucks. Is a lifesaver, honestly. I mean, even 2 days ago when I was out here, I just was kind of testing the thing out. It was the first day, and I put the heater on high, and just in this small tent, and it gets super hot in here, and all of a sudden, click, it went out. And like, oh man, the oxygen sensor actually is that sensitive that it detects that, you know, the oxygen's too low in the tent, boom, it shuts off, you're safe. That is worth the money, guys. Spend the money on the heater. This one here, we do 18,000 BTUs, and it goes down as low, I think, as 4,000, something like that. So right now I'm running on a low. I am like, you can see I'm like pretty much sweating in here. It's hot. It does a great job, and it's super safe. Super, like, if you don't want to carry your 20-pound tank, you can take 2 little 1-pounders, screw it in there. You're good for, you know, on low, I think you're good for pretty much most of the day for fishing. So definitely get yourself one of those if you can. Like I said, it doesn't have to be an expensive venture. Yeah, basic hooks, and bait, you know, whitefish. I'm always using my little red maggots. Get them at GTI here in Sylvan Lake, but most bait stores will carry them. They're great for whitefish. Yeah, if I'm going for bigger fish, minnows, always make sure that you're in a lake that allows bait. There are restrictions in Alberta about bait bans, and so, you know, make sure you know the lake, know the regulations that you're for the lake that you're going to. But simple setup, doesn't have to cost a lot. I mean, yeah, if you want to get into it, it's super fun, and yeah, it doesn't have the break the bank.